Gene Hackman is gone, but he didn't just leave behind a vast fortune. He left behind a mystery that perhaps no one wants uncovered. There are peculiar clues, missing documents, an outdated will from 2005 that Hackman never revised, despite spending more than 3 decades with Betsy Arakawa, and most intriguingly, a lost diary. Rumors swirl that within its pages, Hackman poured out everything: his obsessions, the shadowy underbelly of Hollywood, the secrets he knew but never dared to speak aloud. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could disappear forever. If it resurfaces, many might lose sleep. This isn't the absolute truth. This is my perspective. But what's about to unfold might challenge everything you thought you knew about Gene Hackman, because truth always has 2 sides. Chapter 1. A Hollywood legend's last beau, Santa Fe, New Mexico. A tranquil morning in the arid desert, where the sun cast its first golden rays over the rooftops. But at the villa of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa, the silence carried a different weight. It wasn't the usual morning stillness. It was something heavier, a veil draped over a story no one saw coming. The first to sense something was wrong was a neighbor, a woman in her 70s. "I haven't seen Gene in days," she mentioned to a friend over the phone. That's not like him. Indeed, it wasn't. Though long retired from acting, Hackman had kept a routine: morning strolls through the neighborhood, friendly chats with locals, occasional drives to pick up a newspaper and coffee. But now, his front door remained closed. His car sat untouched in the driveway. Neither he nor his wife had been seen. As unease grew, a family acquaintance finally called the police. When officers arrived and pushed open the villa's door, a rush of stifling air met them. The scene inside was eerily undisturbed. No signs of struggle, no chaos. Yet an unnatural stillness settled over the house, sending chills through those present. Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa lay together on their bed, as if they had simply drifted into sleep, a sleep they would never wake from. The news spread like wildfire. Hollywood reeled in shock. One of the greatest actors of the 20th century, who had captivated audiences with roles like Popeye Doyle in The French Connection and Little Bill Daggett in Unforgiven, was now reduced to mournful headlines. But what made the tragedy even stranger wasn't just the suddenness of his passing. It was what followed. Within 24 hours, the Hackman family moved swiftly to block the release of the autopsy report and any related investigative documents, an unusual, even suspicious request. Journalists ever hungry for the truth immediately began to ask, why? What was the family trying to hide? The deeper one digs, the more perplexing it becomes. Legal records show that Hackman signed his will in 2005 at the age of 75. In it, he left his entire estate, an estimated $80 million, to Betsy Arakawa, the woman who had stood by his side for over 30 years. A love that endured, but a relationship with its own complexities. Betsy had never been a public figure. She shunned the press, avoided Hollywood events, and distanced herself from the entertainment world that had once defined Hackman's life. But then, an unexpected complication arose. Betsy died before Hackman, and under inheritance laws, everything he had left to her would automatically revert to the Hackman Trust. So, now the question is, who truly controls that trust? Hackman's direct heirs, his 3 children from his first marriage to Faye Maltese, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie, were nowhere to be seen. They issued no immediate statements, made no public claims. And as the days passed, the silence only deepened. A fortune in limbo. Who truly controls Gene Hackman's estate? A legal expert interviewed by People pointed out a strange inconsistency. When a married couple passes, the key question is, who died first? In this case, Betsy Arakawa died before Hackman. That meant her assets, everything she inherited, flowed into the Gene Hackman Trust. When he passed, that trust should have distributed his fortune to its designated beneficiaries. But there's a problem. No one knows who those beneficiaries are. The Hackman Trust remains entirely absent from public legal records. No probate filings, no inheritance proceedings. Under standard protocol, at least portions of the will should have surfaced by now. Yet, everything remains shrouded in secrecy. The deeper one digs, the more unsettling the theories become. Some speculate Hackman may have updated his will in his final years, but those documents have conveniently disappeared. Others wonder, did an unseen hand manipulate the fate of his fortune? And then there's the question no one wants to ask. What really happened inside that villa? Santa Fe locals are not easily deceived. Some claim they heard something unusual the night before his passing, though no one can say what. One witness, who often walked the neighborhood at night, reported seeing lights in Hackman's bedroom flickering strangely around 11 p.m. But these are only whispers, no hard evidence, no clear witnesses. Most crucially, no signs of forced entry. Police found no indication of violence, but that doesn't mean there isn't more beneath the surface. As night falls over Santa Fe, the mystery of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa is just beginning. A Hollywood legend has taken his final bow. But what lies behind the doors of that villa? And what really happened that night? Chapter 2. A Will Wrapped in Shadows. Gene Hackman, one of the silver screen's most celebrated actors, played countless roles in gripping stories. But perhaps his life holds the most unexpected twists. After news of his and Betsy Arakawa's passing broke, the public wasn't just mourning, they were drawn into a labyrinth of unanswered questions. The biggest mystery? Who will inherit Hackman's $80 million estate? The most recent known legal document is his 2005 will, signed nearly 2 decades before his passing at age 75. By then, his acting career was largely behind him, and he and Betsy had settled into a quiet life in Santa Fe. In that will, Hackman left everything to Betsy, a logical choice, except for one crucial detail. Betsy predeceased him. If she was the sole heir, her passing meant the estate reverted to Hackman. From there, it should have passed to the beneficiaries of the Hackman Trust. But there's an issue. No one knows who those beneficiaries are. Hackman's 3 children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie, were his only direct heirs, yet unusually, there has been no public disclosure regarding their claims to the estate. Typically, in high-profile cases, assets are distributed in a clear legal sequence: spouse, then children. But here, silence. A People magazine legal expert noted, typically, trusts are included in probate proceedings, at least in California. But in this case, there's nothing public. That's highly unusual. Put simply, when someone dies with a trust, the list of beneficiaries should be revealed during probate. But with Hackman, there's been no legal filing, no estate claims, only secrecy, which raises an urgent question. If Hackman never updated his will after 2005, who inherits now that Betsy is gone? Are his children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie, set to receive the fortune, or is someone else in control? Hackman's first marriage to Faye Maltese lasted from 1956 to 1986, nearly 30 years before he met Betsy. Unlike many Hollywood families, his children never sought the spotlight. They lived quiet, private lives, far from the entertainment industry's glare. Yet, rumors persist that Hackman wasn't particularly close to his kids. Some sources suggest he was more devoted to filmmaking than fatherhood, creating distance between them. When he married Betsy, speculation swirled that she took control of the family's finances, further isolating him from his children. If Hackman never revised his will to include them, why? Did he truly intend for Betsy to inherit everything with no contingency plan? Or did he believe the Hackman Trust would take care of things without needing updates? Or was there another reason, known only to him and Betsy, for keeping the will unchanged? And it's not just the outdated will that raises suspicions. The Hackman Trust itself is an enigma. Trusts are usually designed to streamline inheritance and ensure assets are distributed as intended. Yet, the Hackman Trust appears nowhere in public records. Some sources hint that it was amended multiple times in Hackman's later years, but those changes were never disclosed. Another legal expert weighed in. The strangest part is, we don't know who the beneficiaries are. Typically, these details would have surfaced by now. In other words, if this were a routine case, the trust's beneficiaries would already be public knowledge. But here, only uncertainty remains. And as more questions emerge, one thing becomes clear. This story is far from over. The veil over the Hackman Trust. Did someone alter the Hackman Trust documents without anyone knowing? Before her passing, did Betsy Arakawa make changes that excluded Hackman's children? Or has the trust fallen under the influence of an outside force? One undeniable truth remains. Everything surrounding Gene Hackman's estate is cloaked in secrecy. From his failure to update his will for nearly 2 decades to the impenetrable mystery of the Hackman Trust and its unknown beneficiaries, every detail fuels further speculation. The $80 million fortune may already have a new owner. But who? His children? A secret charity? Or an unseen force pulling the strings? The answer likely lies buried within the documents the Hackman family is working so hard to suppress. One thing is certain. This silence won't last forever. And when the secrets of the Hackman Trust finally come to light, the truth may overshadow any role he ever. Chapter 3. The Forbidden Diary. A man's secrets die with him, unless they are written down. Gene Hackman lived his life as a reserved and dignified Hollywood legend, a gifted actor, a man who avoided the limelight. But after his death, the mystery surrounding him only deepened, stretching beyond his fortune and into something more personal. A shocking revelation emerged. Hackman kept a diary. And not just any journal. This was said to be a private record of his most unfiltered thoughts, his life, his career, his deep unspoken fixations with Hollywood and the people closest to him. The problem? That diary has vanished. According to an anonymous source, Hackman had a habit of writing in a worn, leather-bound notebook. Friends recall seeing him scribble in it while sitting on his Santa Fe porch, staring at the sunset. Yet, since his passing, no one has seen it. A longtime friend, an actor who worked with Hackman on multiple films, told The Sun, if Gene kept a journal, it would be explosive. He was a man of few words, but his mind never stopped working. He noticed things others didn't. If he wrote it all down, someone, somewhere, is holding the key to his true thoughts. A marriage behind closed doors. Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa were together for over 3 decades. From the outside, they seemed like the perfect couple, a Hollywood legend and the quiet, devoted woman by his side. But behind the walls of their Santa Fe home, was their relationship what it seemed? Neighbors described them as reclusive, keeping their world tightly sealed. A former staff member shared with People, they were close, but not in a traditional way. There was tension, an unspoken understanding between them. It always felt like Gene was holding something back. Some even claim Hackman grew more guarded in his later years, keeping Betsy at a distance when it came to his finances and personal affairs. Was this caution, habit, or something deeper? If the lost diary exists, it might hold Hackman's most intimate reflections on his marriage. Did he love Betsy until the very end? Or were there things he could only confess to paper? A Hollywood icon who walked away in the early 2000s, Gene Hackman made an unusual choice. He left Hollywood completely. No farewell interviews, no drawn-out goodbyes, just a quiet exit from an industry he once ruled. Why? A close friend claimed, he lost faith in Hollywood. He thought the industry had turned into something unrecognizable. In one of his rare late-life interviews, Hackman himself admitted, Hollywood isn't the same anymore. It's a different world, and I don't belong there. But there's something more unsettling. Some say Hackman felt he was being watched. He kept his doors locked, allowing only a select few into his world. Those who visited him in his later years noticed a change. He had become unusually cautious, as if something weighed on him. Could the missing diary explain why? What had he seen in Hollywood that made him walk away forever? What secrets did he take with him? And did he ever feel betrayed by those he once trusted? The mystery of the missing diary. Who has Hackman's diary? 3 possibilities emerge. His family. If the diary contains sensitive revelations, his children may have found it and hidden it to protect his legacy. But if that were the case, why not publicly deny its existence? A close associate. A former friend, employee, or someone in Hackman's inner circle may have come across it. If so, they hold a secret that could change how the world remembers him. An unknown force. The most chilling theory, someone outside the family has it. If so, they may be controlling the narrative, choosing what remains hidden. Did someone steal it to bury the truth? The questions surrounding John Hackman only deepen. But one thing remains certain. The lost diary is the key to everything. If it exists, and if it remains hidden, then someone, somewhere, is guarding a truth the world was never meant to know. And the ultimate question lingers. What's written in those pages that makes it too dangerous to reveal? Chapter 4. Hollywood's Darkest Secrets. Hollywood is built on illusions, but behind the curtain, there are things you wouldn't want to see. Gene Hackman was always a private man. Despite being one of the greatest actors of his generation, he never indulged in the power plays and backroom politics of the industry. But after his death, whispers began to surface, fragmented hints, subtle clues, eerie silence from those who once called him a colleague. Did Hackman know something he never dared to say? In a rare interview, years before his passing, he left a cryptic remark. "I've seen things that made me question everything, but in this town, you learn to keep your mouth shut." At the time, it seemed like an offhand comment. Now, it carries an entirely different weight. Hollywood's shadowed realm. Hollywood isn't just the birthplace of iconic films. It's a battleground of power, ambition, and carefully buried truths. And Gene Hackman may have understood that better than anyone. For decades, he watched the industry evolve. He began his career in the 1960s, when Hollywood was controlled by unseen forces. Ruthless moguls, silent scandals, secret dealings conducted far from the spotlight. Yet, in his final years, Hackman severed all ties with the Hollywood elite. He skipped major events, declined offers from legendary directors, and distanced himself from longtime colleagues. Some believe he saw something that made returning unthinkable. Could his death be linked to these hidden secrets? A chilling theory has emerged. Did Gene Hackman know something he was never meant to? And if so, did that knowledge play a role in his fate? Hollywood has a long history of insiders attempting to expose its darkest truths, only to suffer the consequences. Careers ruined, legacies erased, some even vanishing without explanation. One fact stands out. The Hackman family fought relentlessly to block the release of his autopsy report. Why? If his passing was natural, why the extreme secrecy? Even Hollywood's response was strangely muted. No grand tributes from directors who once praised him. No heartfelt essays from co-stars who had called him a legend. Silence. A former colleague who starred alongside him in a classic film offered only a cryptic remark. Gene was different. He knew too much. And sometimes knowing too much isn't a good thing. A loaded statement. It's as if the entire industry silently agreed to let Hackman's name fade. But why? The missing diary, a dangerous truth? Speculation swirls around what Hackman might have uncovered. Some believe he held knowledge of a massive cover-up, one so explosive, powerful figures were desperate to keep it hidden. His missing diary is at the heart of the mystery. Rumors suggest Hackman documented everything he knew in that journal. If true, someone may have suppressed it, perhaps even destroyed it, to erase his legacy and ensure those secrets never surfaced. Another theory suggests a quiet campaign to diminish his influence. The lack of public tributes could be deliberate, a way to let him slip from memory without raising suspicion. But regardless of the speculation, one truth lingers. Hollywood decides what the truth is. And nowhere does that feel more relevant than in the case of Gene Hackman. Was his story intentionally buried? Did he know something too dangerous to reveal? And is someone still working to ensure the world never finds out? Perhaps the answers are lost forever, or perhaps one day that missing diary will resurface, and with it, the truth. Chapter 5. A Death Too Convenient. The truth can be buried deeper than any grave. When news broke of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's passing, the world was stunned. But what truly raised eyebrows was the iron grip on every detail of their deaths. From the initial reports to the family's statements, everything was tightly controlled. The autopsy report, sealed. Investigation files, inaccessible. Crime scene photos, blocked. Why? Was this simply a natural passing, or was something far more sinister at play? Early reports were quick to label their deaths natural, yet inconsistencies soon surfaced. An anonymous source told the press the initial findings didn't add up. There were too many unanswered questions. Unanswered questions. Several factors have fueled speculation. Strange timing and circumstances. Hackman and Betsy were found together, at the same time, in the same place, despite neither showing signs of severe illness beforehand. No emergency calls were made from their home prior to their discovery. Vague medical reports. The autopsy listed natural causes, but failed to specify details. Forensic experts initially pushed for further investigation, but were halted before reaching any firm conclusions. Unusual secrecy from the family. The Hackman family's push to suppress all records raised red flags. If their deaths were truly natural, why go to such lengths to keep everything hidden? Once the autopsy was locked away, conspiracy theories took hold. Forensic insiders hinted at external pressure to withhold information. One anonymous medical examiner admitted, "It's rare to see this level of secrecy surrounding an autopsy. This is not normal procedure." Rumors swirled. Were the autopsy results altered or fabricated to hide the real cause of death? Were witnesses silenced? Did someone intervene to halt a deeper investigation? Though these claims remain unverified, they have only deepened the enigma surrounding Hackman's and Betsy's sudden passing. A silenced truth? Some believe Hackman was erased, along with the knowledge he carried. As noted, Hackman had hinted at knowing Hollywood's darkest secrets. He spoke of unseen forces shaping the industry, of truths manipulated behind closed doors. Was he planning to reveal what he knew? Had he written everything down in that lost diary? And if so, did someone stop him before it ever saw the light of day? Theories suggest he may have been targeted, just as others before him who dared to expose the past. Some voices claim Hollywood protects its secrets at all costs, and Hackman may have come too close to uncovering something the industry couldn't afford to let slip. No matter how much speculation surrounds his death, one thing is certain. This case was never meant to be solved. Shadows and silence. The family remains tight-lipped. The press is blocked from accessing key files. Hollywood conspicuously avoids the topic altogether. Will the truth ever come to light? Perhaps Hackman left behind a hidden clue, one we've yet to uncover. Or maybe, someday, someone will stumble upon the records of what he knew. If that happens, Hollywood's most carefully guarded secret might finally unravel. Chapter 6. A Vanishing Trail. Some truths are erased before they ever see the light. Shortly after news of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's passing spread, a series of strange events unfolded. Personal documents, letters, and key belongings suddenly disappeared. Their Santa Fe home, where they were found, was thoroughly searched, yet nothing leaked. No photos, no notes, no official reports. Everything was either locked away or wiped clean. Who did this, and why? Before his death, Hackman possessed several personal and highly sensitive items. A personal diary, a notebook believed to contain private reflections, memories, and possibly secrets. Correspondence, letters exchanged with friends, old colleagues, and influential figures in the entertainment world. Financial records, documents tied to the Hackman Trust, his $80 million estate, and undisclosed contracts. Yet, following his passing, all of it vanished. A source close to the family remarked, "It's as if someone came in and wiped everything clean." His office was filled with notes, letters, and scripts, but now it's empty. Strangely, no theft was reported, no signs of a break-in, and no one knows who took these items. A house stripped of clues. The home where Hackman and Betsy spent their final years quickly became the subject of growing curiosity. Police conducted an examination, but nothing emerged. No crime scene photos were released. No reports on what was found inside the house surfaced. No investigation specifics were made public. An anonymous investigator later admitted, "We expected to find personal records, letters, maybe even unfinished scripts. But by the time we arrived, it was as if the house had already been stripped of anything important." Which raises a crucial question. If Hackman died of natural causes, why would someone erase every trace of his life? Adding to the mystery, security footage from that night held nothing. As if the cameras had been wiped clean, neighbors reported hearing nothing unusual. Whoever was in the house that night, if anyone, left no mark. A legacy, erased. The family's actions following his death only deepened suspicion. Rather than allowing transparent police or media inquiries, They shut down all access. No family members spoke to the press. They petitioned the courts to seal all records related to Hackman. Any attempt to obtain information was stonewalled. An old friend of Hackman's confided, Gene was a private man, but even he wouldn't have wanted his entire life erased like this. Something isn't right. Theories swirl. The family is protecting Hackman's reputation, knowing he held dangerous knowledge. The missing documents contain secrets too damaging to be revealed. An outside force is pressuring them into silence. No one knows the real answer, but one thing is clear. Every trace of Gene Hackman is being deliberately erased. With his documents gone, his story remains incomplete, a puzzle with too many missing pieces. Will someone uncover a lingering clue, or will the truth stay buried forever? Some investigative journalists continue their quiet search, but with each passing day, the odds of finding answers grow slimmer. Hackman once said in an interview, "In Hollywood, the truth is a script that never gets produced." Perhaps his own story is just that, a truth erased before it could be told. Chapter 7. A legacy that haunts. A truth untold is a ghost that never rests. Gene Hackman is gone, but his presence lingers in unanswered questions, buried mysteries, and, most of all, in that missing diary. If it exists, it could contain earth-shattering revelations about Hackman, Hollywood, or secrets he never dared to share. But some truths are too dangerous to reveal, and sometimes those who know them are forced into silence. The diary. A ticking time bomb? Who has it? And if it resurfaces, what happens next? Hackman left behind more than an $80 million estate. He left behind a mystery too complex to unravel. His family refuses to discuss his death. His documents vanished without a trace. The press is blocked from investigating. And most crucially, his diary has never been found. An anonymous source claimed Gene always carried a small notebook. He wrote everything down, thoughts, conversations, memories. But after his death, it was gone. If that diary is real, it could change everything. But where is it? And more importantly, who holds it? Who controls the truth? 3 theories emerge. The Hackman family. If they found the diary, they may have hidden it to protect his legacy. It could contain personal struggles, regrets, or secrets they never want exposed. A mysterious force. A darker possibility. Someone took the diary to ensure its secret stayed buried. A Hollywood insider admitted Gene knew things that could ruin people. Now he's gone, and so is everything he wrote. An investigative journalist. The boldest theory? Someone has the diary, but is waiting for the right moment to release it. Some reporters have pursued the case, only to abruptly stop their investigations. Were they silenced? If the diary ever surfaces, the fallout will be seismic. It could expose the truth about his marriage to Betsy Arakawa. Was it as perfect as it seemed? Hollywood's hidden corruption. Did Hackman uncover something too big to ignore? The real cause of his death? Was it truly natural, or did someone intervene? One thing is certain. If the diary goes public, Hollywood will never be the same. Hackman once said, "You can run from the past, but it always finds a way back." Perhaps his legacy will remain a mystery, or maybe one day someone will find that diary, and when they do, the truth will no longer stay buried.